Let's set up our control surface minimum and maximums according to the manual in our P&P airplane. For the elevator, it says 8 millimeter low travel and 12 millimeters of high travel. Here's our high. There's our low. Once again, 8 millimeters. And then the 12. Let me show you how to do this. So we need to set up our elevator throws. In the manual, it says a maximum and a minimum of your elevator travel. Let's do that now. It only takes a second. If you want to win a jet like this, all you have to do is subscribe. Click the like button and leave a comment. And then ring the bell so you don't miss my next video. At 1,000 subscribers, we gave this jet away. At 5,000, we're going to give another one. I don't know what it is yet. We'll see when that time comes. So hey, subscribe guys. Happy flying. Okay, real quick on the TV here, I've got the instruction manual pulled up for the Avios King Twin 1700, and we're going to set the elevator throws. And you can see up here on the top left, it says a low of 8 millimeters and a high of 12 millimeters. So that means the maximum your elevator can move is 12 millimeters up or down, and the minimum should be at 8. That's the recommended flying. If you set it way below 8 millimeters of travel, then it won't, climb up or climb down as easily. If you set it higher than 12, then it will be too abruptly and it will result in bad flights. So let's set the elevator. Doesn't take long. Sit tight. Okay, so we're creating a brand new model. And one thing I like to do is to go into the servo setup and just make sure that everything is zeroed out as it should be, creating a brand new model. I've already named it and set my wing type to 1 aileron, 1 flap real quick, even though we're doing the elevator. And you can see throttle, aileron, elevator, rotor, gear, and flap. If you did not select 1 aileron flap, then flap would not be there. Now, also make sure that all your trims are zeroed. Then, this is the elevator here. This is my stick. And notice they're backwards. So now, the first thing we need to do is reverse the elevator servo. This is an AS3X safe select receiver, and we are going to enable safe and the AS3X and all that stuff. But at the very beginning, set the plane up like this. So we selected travel, and then we're going to roll over till we see reverse. And then we're going to get to elevator and reverse. And then just back out of it. And here's our elevator. Here's my stick. Now it is correct. There are many ways to measure your travel. This is what I have. You can use a ruler. There's other devices. Remember, we need 8 millimeters for the low travel and 12 millimeters for the high. So in our servo setup, our servos were all set to 100% of their travel. I have not set up a dual rate yet, so I'll just have maximum travel of the servo. So first, let's see what the max is. There's 0. And there's max. So it's probably 18-ish. So now we'll go into our servo setup in the transmitter. So we got the transmitter. We're going to go to servo setup. And the first menu is travel, right? Go over to elevator. And once you click it, both boxes are highlighted. So that means you're adjusting the travel for up and down. Now, we knew we had around 18, right?
you can watch the elevator as you do this. Like you can hold on the stick and then you can roll your wheel, but that's only gonna to adjust down, and that way we'll only be adjusting up. So we had 18 max, so let's just roll this down to like 90 and then look at the elevator again. So at 90%, we have right around 15. So I'm going to take it down to 85. That's a little less. Let's take it down to 80% of the servo travel. And that's maybe 14 to 15. Let's take it down to 76. And that's getting closer. So then there's 5. And there's 10. 11, 12, 13, 14. Still around 15. Took it down to 72% of its travel. 5, 10, 11, 12. It's about 68% of its travel. Now at this point, we're really limiting the servo travel. I got it down to 62%. So let's maybe move a hole right here. All right, since we're using so much of the servo travel up, let's move our control ball up to the very top hole. That will decrease the travel. Hang tight. So I moved the control ball to the most outer hole, so that will limit the amount of travel. The farther down you go in this situation, the more travel the servo will put out. So now, let's get our tool back on here. And then we're going to center up the servo travel again, because we're starting over. So the travel, elevator, click, clear. So put it back to 100. So now let's look at our travel here. So that's roughly 0. We're at 100% of the servo travel now, and its max is around 16. So I'm going to go back to servo setup, elevator travel, click, and we'll take it down to 90. So there's 5, and then there's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So around 15 is at 90%. 85, 80, 5, 10, 11, 12-ish. So at about 80%, gives it around 14 or 15. So right there, I'm going to call 0, and I'm going to call that 5, and I'm going to call that 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're going to call the center of the elevator directly center. So then there's 5, and that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. About 13 is at the servo set at 80%. Then let's check the down. And it's the same. So there we're going to leave our servo set up in the transmitter right at, it's at 79. So we'll just leave that right there. So now let's create a dual rate. We still have, we're still going to mess with all this. Still major adjustments. So elevator, 100% travel. We'll use this F switch. select, and we'll just move the F. And since we're at 100%, I'm going to take the F switch to the top. So when the F switch is at the very top, we're at 100% of the travel. When I pull this F switch down to the middle, you see the number 1 box is highlighted darker. So the middle setting, the darker is selected. So then we're going to go back up here to our percentage, and we'll make our middle setting 85, just for grins. Then we'll take it to switch down to its lowest position, and we'll take this to 70%. And now let's look and see if our low rate on our elevator is around 8 millimeters. And the high rate is around the 12 mark. So there's the elevator centered. We are in our high rates. F switches up. And roughly 13. We'll go to our mid rate, see what it does. And then our low rate, remember 8 millimeters. And that's right there. I mean, we're really close. If the center of the thickness is 0, we're in the low rate right now. And 8 was where we wanted to be. That's roughly 9. So that is really close, and I'll call that good for right now. Plenty more fine tuning to go. That is setting up your minimum and your maximums. So here we are, high rates. 12 millimeters was the max for the high. There's our low rate, 8 millimeters. So 8 millimeters, then holding it, and flick the switch, and it goes to high. Show you on the transmitter here. So we got our dual rates. We're in the high position. Nope. High is 100. Middle is 85. Low is 70. In our servo setup, we got the maximum travel of the elevator servos at 79.
All right, guys, the elevator check. We're pretty dang close. We'll still do some more fine tuning after we fly it, but there we have our minimum and maximum sets of our elevator travel. It was best to move the control linkage to a different hole in the horn. Farther out will be less travel that the servo can do. Closer in can be more travel that the servo is capable of doing. For example, our rudder, it's in the inside hole, so the servo is going to do maximum for the rudder. But we haven't set up the rudder yet. Right now we've done the elevator. Here's our low, medium, and high. Thank you guys. Hey, subscribe if you haven't. Click the like button. Leave me a message. Video ideas are awesome. Ring the notification bell so you don't miss my next video. See you guys. Hey, thank you. Until next time, you'll see the tail of the King Twin.